Welcome to the Tech Playbook, where we dive inside the stack. This is where we explore how products are built, how teams work, and the systems and decisions that power modern technology. So let's dive right in. Ever wonder what the secret playbook is for the most elite tech sales teams? Well, today we're breaking down the most popular sales methodologies used in tech. Understanding these playbooks is really the key to understanding the growth engine behind the world's most successful companies. Okay, first things first, let's clear up something that trips a lot of people up. A sales methodology is not the same thing as a sales process. Your process, that's the what, the sequence of steps you take like prospecting, qualifying, and closing. But the methodology, that's the philosophy. It's the why and the how. Think of it like this. The process is the playbook, but the methodology is the coaching style that decides how you actually run the plays on the field. So what's the real power of a sales methodology? Well, it's the strategic framework that lets sales reps sell smarter, not just harder. It gives the whole team a common language and a consistent approach, which means they can replicate their wins over and over and really scale their success. And hey, this isn't just some theory. A Harvard Business Review study found that a staggering 50%, that's half, of top-performing sales organizations have a sales methodology that's either closely monitored or even automated. That pretty much proves that having a well-defined playbook is absolutely critical for elite performance. Now, you might be thinking there are dozens of these methodologies out there, and you'd be right. But here's the thing. Most of them can be boiled down to one of three core philosophies. And if you can get your head around these three approaches, you've pretty much unlocked the whole world of tech sales. First up, we have the qualifier. This philosophy, which includes frameworks you might have heard of like MEDDIC and BANT, is all about ruthless efficiency. The whole goal is to quickly figure out which leads are a poor fit and get rid of them so the team can focus all their energy on the deals they can actually win. Think of it like a bouncer at an exclusive club. Only the most qualified prospects are getting past the velvet rope. Next up, we've got the consultant. This approach, which you'll see in methods like spin selling or gap selling, is all about turning the sales rep into a trusted advisor. So instead of just pitching a product, the consultant asks really insightful questions to uncover what the customer's deepest needs are, often needs they didn't even know they had. Here, the goal is to solve problems, not just sell stuff. And finally, there's the challenger. Now, this one is a real game changer. It doesn't just solve problems, it completely redefines them. A challenger rep teaches the customer something new, they challenge their long-held beliefs, and they totally reframe how they think about their business. It is bold, it's disruptive, and it is incredibly effective. Okay, so now that we've got that high-level overview of the three core philosophies, let's dive a little deeper into each one. We're going to start with a true classic, a consultative method that really changed the game: spin selling. Spin was developed by Neil Rackham after, get this, analyzing 35,000 sales calls. It's a super powerful questioning framework that guides the buyer to realize their needs on their own. By asking about the implications of a problem, a good rep can really magnify the customer's pain. Then, with the need-payoff questions, they get the customer to state the value of a solution in their own words. It's subtle, but it's an amazing way to build urgency and get people to act. But what happens when your customer thinks they're perfectly happy with how things are? How do you sell to someone who doesn't even think they have a problem? Well, that's where the challenger sale comes in. This methodology came out of research from Gartner, and it argues that the most successful reps aren't necessarily the ones who build the best relationships. No, they're the ones who challenge their customers' thinking. They teach prospects something new and valuable about their own business. They tailor those insights to the buyer's specific needs, and then they confidently take control of the conversation to guide them to a better outcome. So what makes this so powerful? It's a fundamental shift in mindset. Instead of asking, "So, what's your problem?" a challenger rep comes in and says, "Let me tell you what your problem should be." Now, it's not about being aggressive, it's about being assertive, with a unique, data-backed insight that creates a whole new sense of urgency and just opens up a completely different conversation. All right, but what about when the stakes are as high as they can get? We're talking multi-million-dollar enterprise deals, long sales cycles, huge buying committees. For that, you need an even more rigorous playbook. This is where the undisputed champion of B2B software sales comes in, MEDDIC. You can think of MEDDIC as a qualification checklist on steroids. It's an acronym that makes sure a sales rep has covered every single base in a complex deal.
From metrics, the actual quantifiable impact of the solution, and the economic buyer, the person who really holds the purse strings, all the way to the champion, that's your internal advocate who's going to fight for you. MEDDIC leaves absolutely no stone unturned.
In short, MEDDIC gives you the roadmap to get through the, let's call it treacherous terrain of long sales cycles and big buying committees. It minimizes risk, it makes your forecast way more accurate, and it is, without a doubt, the gold standard in the world of enterprise SaaS. Okay, so with all these different playbooks to choose from, how on earth does a company pick the right one? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. It all depends on the game you're playing. Things like your average deal size, how complex the sale is, and the length of your sales cycle. All of that is going to determine which methodology is the best fit. And this chart illustrates that core idea perfectly. I mean, you wouldn't use a heavyweight framework like MEDDIC for a small, quick transactional sale, right? A quick qualifier like BANT is a much better fit. But on the flip side, trying to close a massive enterprise deal with a lightweight framework, that would be like bringing a knife to a gunfight. The key takeaway is simple. The methodology must always match the moment. All right, now it's your turn to put what you've learned to the test. So here's the scenario. You're facing a buyer who says they're happy, but you have an insight that could completely change their perspective. Based on everything we've talked about, which methodology would you use to open that conversation? Go ahead and write your answer to the question below in the comments. I'd love to see what you think. So what's the bottom line here? These sales methodologies, they're not just jargon or buzzwords. They are the strategic blueprints that separate the good sales teams from the truly great ones. The world's most successful sales organizations operate from a clear, consistent playbook that is perfectly aligned with the customers they serve and the problems they solve. Thanks for tuning into this episode brought to you by the Tech Playbook Inside the Stack. Like, comment, and subscribe for clear, practical tech education. This is the Tech Playbook, and you're inside the stack.